Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of third person series. In the previous episode I created a blueprint interface, but for some reasons I removed that. So in the beginning of this episode I'm going to create it again. So here in content drawer inside my weapon folder I right click, and from blueprint section I create a new blueprint interface and I name it interact-interface. Alright, now I open my blueprint interface, and as you can see by default I have a new function and I name it interact. Okay, and now here I add an input and I name it interactor. And for input type I choose actor object reference. Alright, now I compile and close my blueprint interface. Now I'm going to open up project settings. Now I open input section. And here I add a new action mapping and I name it interact. And for key binding I choose E button. Alright. Now I open up my third person character blueprint. From event graph I find some free space, and here I right click and search for my interact input. Now I right click and I search for get overlapping actors. And for class filter I choose actor here. Alright, now I drag a node from here and search for each loop with break. Connect this here, and from here I drag a node and search for does implement interface, and here I select my interact interface. Alright, and here I drag a node and add a branch node and connect it to here, and here I search for interact message and connect it to true part. Now I should connect target to this array element, and also for interactor I drag a node and search for a self reference, get a reference to self. Alright, and finally I connect this execution pin to this break. Now I double click on this node and create a reroute node and place it here. Now I compile and close my character blueprint. Now I open my master weapon blueprint. Okay, here I should implement my interface to this class. Here from class settings I search for, I here have implemented interfaces. I click this add and search for interact interface. So here I have from interfaces section I have my interact interface. I double click and here I have interact event, and now I just drag a node and search for print string, and here in this section I type for example interact. Now I have created an interaction between my character and my master weapon, but for now this is just a print string, but in this episode I'm going to create some weapon pickup functionality. So now I close my master weapon and I'm going to test this interface. So I overlap one of my weapons, and now if I press E, as you can see, interact message is printed on the screen. Now I open my weapon system component. As I told you in previous episode, I'm going to use this component for all of my weapon system functionalities, and I have also added this component to my character blueprint. As you can see, if I open my character blueprint, you can see my weapon system component inside component sections. Alright, now I go back here, and from functions I create a new function and I name it pickup weapon. Alright, here I need an input. I name it the weapon. And for input type, I select master weapon object reference. Okay. Now I right click here and promote it to a local variable. Local variables are available inside only inside of the function, but they cannot be accessed from other functions. Okay, now I rename my local variable to interacting weapon. Alright, and from here I drag a node and search for weapon extract, the structure that I created in previous episodes. I get my weapon extract, and here I drag a node and search for break weapon extract. And here I have access to all of variables inside my structure. And here I get my weapon enumeration, drag a node and search for switch on weapon underscore enum, and I connect it here. Alright, here I have all of the names that I have added to my weapon enumeration. For now I'm going just creating weapon pickup for rifles for now, but before that I need the functionality to check how many free holster I have. As I told you, for this tutorial I'm going to create 2 weapon slots for 200 weapons like rifles and shotguns, and only 1 slot for 100 weapons like pistols and all kinds of handguns or maybe SMGs. Alright, so here I'm going to create a macro. From macro section I hit this plus icon and I name my macro check rifle holster, or maybe check rifle slot, check rifle holster. Alright, here for input I add an input and I name it in and type of execution, and another input I name it the weapon in type of master weapon object reference. Alright, and for outputs I need 1 output for holster 1 empty, in type of execution, another one holster 2 empty, that shows holster number 2 is empty. Actually, holster 2, alright. And another one, I name it full holster, that shows all of the holsters are full and there are no empty holsters available. Okay, and for the last one, I name it weapon, and I name it and for output type, I select master weapon object reference. Alright, and I'm also going to create some variables. First one, I name it holster 1 in type of master weapon object reference. Okay, another one, I name it holster 2. Third one, holster 3, which is actually our handgun holster. And finally, another one, in hand weapon, which is the weapon that is in the hand of our character, not in the weapon slots, and it is being used by character. And finally, I need another variable in type of name, and I name it empty holster. Empty holster. Alright. Now I drag and drop my holster 1, and here I drag a node and search for is valid macro with this question mark. This macro actually checks if this variable has a value or not. If this has a value, it will return is valid. If not, it returns is not valid. Okay, if this holster be empty, so it won't have any value, so we have is not valid. So first I drag and drop it here to this node and get a setter from my empty holster variable, and I connect it to holster 1 empty. And here I should add my socket name that I created on my character skeleton. So to make sure that I'm inserting the name correctly, I open up my character skeleton. Here in this case is SKM Queen. Here from skeleton section I have, for example, slot 1. I copy the exact name and I paste it here. But if this one be valid, which I have a weapon in this slot, and I should check my holster 2. So I drag my holster 2, and here I search for another is valid macro, connect it to here, and if it is not valid, which I have this holster 2 free, this holster is free and doesn't have any value inside, so again I drag and drop it here, get a setter of my empty holster variable, but this time I should insert a slot 2 socket. Again, here from my character skeleton I copy my slot 2 exact name and paste it right here. Okay, and I connect it to holster 2 empty. But if this holster 2 be valid, which means this one has a value and this one as well, So all of my holsters are full. So I connect this is valid to full holster, which means all of my holsters are full. Okay, now I compile and go to event graph. Now I open my check rifle holster macro, and here I have made a mistake. I'm going to fix it. I should connect this D weapon to weapon. This input to this output should be connected. Alright. Now I open my pickup weapon function. Here I drag and drop my check rifle holster, and I should connect all of my two-handed weapons that can be placed in the holsters to this in input. For example, I connect AK-47, shotgun, and M4 from my weapon enumeration, and I also connect my local variable interacting weapon to the weapon. Alright, now I get my holster 1, drag and drop it here and click on set, and connect weapon output to here and connect my holster 1 to here. And now I need to create a function to attach weapon to character. Alright, so I create a new function and I name it attach weapon to character. Okay, I need two inputs. One is called the weapon in type of master weapon object reference, and another one named holster in type of name. Okay, now here I drag a node and search for attach actor to component. This one. For socket name, I connect it to my holster input, but for parent, I need a reference to my character blueprint. So I go to event graph, and from event begin play, I drag a node and cast to my character blueprint. In this case is BP underscore third person character. For object wildcard, I select get player character. Okay, and here I'm going to promote this to a variable and I name it character ref. Which is actually a reference to my character blueprint. So I go back to my attach weapon to character function. I get my character reference variable. Here I get mesh, and now I connect mesh to the parent, and for location, rotation, and scale rule, I set all of them to snap to target. Alright, now I drag a node from here and I search for set weapon state function, which is from master weapon class, and I set it from drop to equipped and I connect it here. Now I compile and I go back to my pickup weapon function. Now I drag and drop attach weapon to character function here. I connect this here, and target should be self, and the weapon should be connected to here, which is actually my holster 1. And for holster, I connect my empty holster to here. Okay, now I compile and close it, Now I open my master weapon. I have this event interact here. Now I drag and I should here drag a node and I search for get component by class. Alright, and here I search for weapon system component. And now I drag a node and search for pickup weapon function. And I connect it here. And for the weapon input, I should get a reference to self. Here I search for self and click on get a reference to self. Now I compile and run the game. As you can see, instead of that print string node, now I have my weapon pickup function. So if I overlap one of my weapons in the scene and press E, as you can see, it is attached to my holster 1. Okay, I think that's enough for this episode, but in next episodes I'm going to complete functionalities for other holsters, and also I create some functions for switching between weapons. Thanks for watching, and if these tutorials are useful for you, please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.